Hello, everyone. We're the GreenLoop project team. I wanted to start by posing a question to the general audience. Can anyone take a gander? And this is a very niche question, so all answers, no judgment will be cast no matter what you state. On this end, beautiful. More on this end. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Can you guys estimate, and any number is fine, how much pounds of plastic are generated just within the city of Phoenix on freeways? Can anyone guess? You in the back?
580 trillion.
Oh, I wanted to make the number seem very, very cool, but compared to that, it's a bit smaller. But you know, you're getting there. Any other guesses?
What it might spend?
Whoa, I heard like
500,000.
500,000. Okay, a bit up. It's actually 1.6 million tons. Sorry, pounds. So 1.6 million pounds of plastic are solely found on freeways within the city of Phoenix. Now imagine expanding that to the entirety of the state, or the entirety of the nation, or the entirety of the globe. That's a ton just within freeway areas. So GreenLight seeks to address these types of problems, to address the plastic pollution crisis as a whole. And the way we're doing it is within our own local region, within the city of Phoenix, within Arizona as a state. And we're hoping to repurpose these plastics that are otherwise being either diverted to landfills or just accumulating in our every sector of life, whether it be in our neighborhoods, on freeways, etc. We're hoping to repurpose that into an infrastructural material that can be used in outdoor decking amidst a slew of other purposes. So if you're interested in the housing market, you're interested in building a house, or you're just interested in sustainable infrastructure, this is the project for you. So without further ado, we'll jump right in.
Okay, so I'm Andres. I'm a business sustainability major from Mexico. And to touch on what GreenLoop's main mission is turning, like Manasa said, a very plentiful material which is underused, which is single-use plastics, into an upcycled plastic wood, which can be used in construction projects, right? It also empowers workers in the waste sector, as we know they are very undervalued a lot of times, or underrepresented. So this, in a way, also empowers them and their job and what they do. This is Mikhail. He was the person who started the company, chemical engineer from Argentina, and he has been supporting us throughout this process as well. So for the sustainable development goal that we focus on is number 12, responsible consumption and production, which is waste reduction through prevention, reduction, recycling, and reuse. As you know, we are reusing the material, upcycling it, and giving it a longer lifespan instead of just having it harm our environment through, as we know, microplastics found in environment which we consume, which leads to other issues. Yeah, so we're hitting a lot of birds with one stone. We can spot that. Okay, as to why the project matters, as I said, it's very prevalent, it's very underused. There's a lot of profit that can be accessed through it business-wise. It's just sitting there in a landfill causing more harm than good. This business model would lead us into a product that can be sold and can profit both us and the people in the waste sector. And just to kill it off, it's working inside the circular economy infrastructure.
So GreenLoop vision is to create a blue plastic composite company in Arizona and to produce a product that both attracts consumers and suppliers throughout the state. But the mission is to attract stakeholders throughout the state to put shade on the market interest of this product and to incorporate these insights into a Polish business strategy.
Okay. As for our objectives and key performance indicators, we had a pretty large range, but to start off, we wanted to create a database of competitors, suppliers, and prospective customers. So we went out and did some market research, which falls under objective 2, in which we were like, okay, how does the market for wood plastic composites look like? Are there other competitor companies out there that are already producing our good? Can there be any collaborations in the future? Are there any things that we need to learn from their customer bases that we need to implement into GreenLoop's business model? Any cons, any pros that we should really stress? And then on the next slide, please. we amalgamated all of these insights into our third objective, which is, into our fourth objective. Our third objective was just going out and interviewing these prospective customers, prospective suppliers, and other competitors within the market. And so that we could gain their insight as well as the insights from broad online search. And then we tried to create a business proposal out of this. This is still in the works, but we're just trying to make sure that we coalesce all of these viewpoints into one set framework so we can benefit GreenLoop, especially within the context of the state of Arizona. Because as Andres mentioned, the original company is based in Argentina. So we have a branch in a new region altogether. So we have to understand the demographic, understand the wants and needs of this clientele base, so that way we can best appeal to them. So that's currently the stage of the project that we're still working on implementing, but we've completed steps 1 through 3, so we have all of the research necessary to continue that. And then going on to the next slide. And so circular economy is something that Andres touched on too. This is just sustainable production. In any ways, usually it's tied to like recycling, reuse, these types of sustainable practices, eco-friendly practices. So the way in which GreenLoop fits into this is that everything's going to be locally sourced, everything's going to be locally distributed, and we're going to aid in the local job market. So there'll be domestic employment, economic prosperity is always great, especially within the domestic sector, but not only is being locally sourced and locally produced going to impact things like emissions for transport, but it's also going to make sure that our product is very accessible to the public. It'll be much cheaper. And this is not only because it'll be cheaper to produce, but it'll also just be cheaper because we're not going to be doing transportation costs. So transportation emissions go down, transportation costs go down. We're helping to, I don't want to say killing, we're lifting up 2 birds with 1 stone. Next slide, please.
All right, so we were doing market research with this project. What are some of the insights that we actually came up with? I'm speaking to this slide because I made it my mission to go out into the community and learn as much as I could, especially as a graduate student who has pivoted into sustainability. I wanted to make all the connections I could, and I see some of you that I met actually throughout my journey, so thank you for being here tonight. But just touching on the energy that we found within Arizona for the circular economy, you can see multiple different groups that are highlighted here that are actually implementing new circular economy practices. And actually just 2 months ago, the Goodwill and ASU partnership launched, where they're actually having a plastics micro factory where they are doing exactly what we're trying to do: take plastic that is otherwise not finding value, putting it through a micro factory system and extruding different products out. So we see ways that we could actually just click into some of these systems that are already being built. You can go to the next slide. So then we did a lot of surveys, a lot of interviews, right? Even had some of us going to Home Depot and just like, if somebody was looking at some of the decking products, like asking what they thought about our potential products. So some of the insights that we found, unfortunately, we had 60% of people saying that they weren't actually familiar with wood, plastic, composite materials. Now, there could be very many reasons for that, right? It could be because of how we're calling it, they don't recognize it by that name, or maybe they don't have experience building a house, building a deck, right? But we'll catch them at some point, right? So having awareness is something that will be an ongoing part of our strategy as we go on. We also found when we asked about different product attributes that were important to folks, unfortunately, sustainability was not the #1, but it was appearance, ease of maintenance, and the overall lifetime costs. And so if we can make sure that those values are true and mentioned as we try to market the product, that is going to help us as we go. And believe it or not, even though some people were not aware, those who were did believe that our products would outperform traditional wood in multiple different categories that they said were important to them. So that is the consumer, the prospective customer side. For the supplier side, probably not a surprise that we found that a little bit more difficult to chip into, right? Those relationships that we need to build with different recycling facilities, they often bid out those plastic materials that we'd be looking for. And so those relationships can be a little bit tenuous to navigate. But we did our best, and we were very thankful to actually have some insights from the city of Tempe, the city of Phoenix Public Works Department, and different officials from ASU who could provide us some insight into those supplier relationships. So really, at the end of the day, we have more work to do around that. But we're thankful to have those partnerships, especially with folks like those at the City of Phoenix. They often will do studies about the plastic recycling and kind of how much more plastic we potentially be getting, right? Even off the side of the freeway. So we're starting to see what those different streams of materials could be in order to make our product.
Yeah, so as a team, I mean, we learned a lot, our team greatly impacted, every aspect inside our project. On our results, we completed a lot of market research and we gained a lot of feedback from suppliers, distributors, contractors, everything that you can imagine. And because of that, we laid the groundwork for future partnerships such as the City of Phoenix, City of Tempe, and also smaller organizations and big organizations. And due to that, we, which will be the next slide, we got go back, look at my bad. So yeah, so we got a lot of facts, just like Manas was saying and everything. So as a team, we learned a lot of things, and techniques. So, we did cold calling, emailing, the surveys, in-person interviews. I was actually one who works at Home Depot, and I go up to random people in the floor department. And of course, I get rude guys, I get, nice guys, but every piece of feedback counts. And we did that, and then we called them after and stuff like that. So, and also we learned more about the construction and building industry, trying to procure materials more sustainable. And of course, like I said, the challenges in building relationships, it's not easy keeping, relationships, you got rude people, but of course, we learned, and yeah, we went forward with it.
So another few key deliverables that we produced were a set of infographics. So quite innately, GreenLoop's mission is very sustainable, very eco-friendly, but there was nothing really advertising that on their website. So we created a few key takeaways for the audience that we can incorporate, and we gave placement suggestions to see where exactly these would be fit in their webpage to best broadcast it. But the first little factoid that I wanted to show, but it's a bit hard to see, is that in 1 square meter of GreenLoop deck, you're going to capture 17 shampoo bottles worth of plastic. So this is a very random statistic, I'm aware. We were initially going to go with plastic bottles, plastic bags, something a bit more tangible, commonly interacted with. However, the number was quite expansive for that one. It was in the thousands. So I think this one's a bit more digestible. But that's already showing you just the impact that has. If 1.6 million tons or pounds of plastic are ending up on freeways within the city of Phoenix annually, well, within 1 square meter of decking, you can already get 17 plastic bottles worth of that outside. So that's really great. And next slide, please. So another big thing was what plastics can we take in? Because not all plastics will be durable, will allow for the material to be safe, water resistant, heat resistant, etc. So these are the specific types of plastics that we're actually able to utilize: HDPE color, HDPE natural, and PP. And I have a few facts here produced by the City of Phoenix. 13,026 tons of HDPE color are generated in Phoenix within 2013. So these are just little factoids from one of their waste surveys, waste composition surveys. So you can see within just these plastic subtypes, how much is being generated and how much we could take in and completely divert away from landfills, away from recycling centers into your own housing materials. And the next slide, please. Okay, and then this, as well as the circular economy slides, were the ones that we thought were most influential. This is showing how we would compare with traditional lumber, which is our key competitor when it comes to housing materials. So with traditional lumber, you will be cutting down a tree, using that tree to build your house. In our product, with our wood plastic composite, we're using wasted plastics, wooden shards that are just present, whether it be because of a result of the lumber factory's workings, or they're just present in the environment, like wood chips and things like that. We're combining these together, creating a material that you can utilize. So we are not actively going around and cutting any trees. Directly, that's going to save trees. So specifically 30 to 50 trees are going to be saved for every 1,000 square footing of WPC material we produce. So we're saving 30 to 50 trees, and trees are very important in carbon sequestration, which just means they take CO2 from the atmosphere, a key greenhouse gas, impacting global warming and climate change, and all of those matters. So we're taking that CO2, putting it back into trees because we're not cutting them down. So we're actively saving around 6,800 to 11,300 kilograms of CO2 from being produced with every 1,000 square footing of wood plastic composite material. So I think those stats are very, very worthwhile, and they can always, help bite away at the expedition of climate change.
All right, so to wrap it up, really, I think I'm speaking to the choir here, but wanted to give you some things that you can take away. You can't buy GreenLoop right now, but hopefully one day you can, so keep an eye out for that. Right now, you can learn your local recycling, right? We know that different municipalities have different contracts, and so just taking it on yourself to learn what are those things, then following through is a great thing to do. Helps us keep recycling going and help us keep getting better at it. Also, you can support different waste stream reduction. So for example, you can't throw away your grocery bags if you end up with any grocery bags. Often, if you can't put them in recycling, you can take them to the grocery store. I know our Fry's has them, so go ahead and do that. Also, ASU, if you are an affiliate there, they have lots of programs to help you recycle hard to recycle items, and then you can get your workplace to do that as well. And then finally, support GreenLoop. So of course, we are at the phase where we are actively trying to create partnerships. So please, we'd be happy to partner with you, let you know a little bit more details about what we have going on. If that's a letter of intent or maybe doing more research together, we'd love to have you join our cause.
Thank you so much.